Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I'm Fitzroy, and you are?
My name's Wayne Douglas.
And where are you originally from?
I was born in Bristol, actually. My parents are Jamaicans, and I was brought up in South London in Brixton, where I went to school prior to joining the army.
And how did you know about the army?
I was always interested in joining the army as a youngster. It's something that I always wanted to do, but I actually waited until I was 20 before engaging, because I went to college. I did a tech diploma in electronics at the time, because that's where I thought I wanted to go. But at 20, I made an initial application to join the army, but I actually joined the Royal Army Medical Corps as an operating departmental practitioner, or OTT as it was called then, so theatre technician.
At the time, did you actually knew what corps you want to join?
When I went for selection, I went to Birmingham. I took the test. When you take the test, you get a choice of jobs. I looked through the selections. I've been an army cadet, so I knew I didn't want to join the infantry. I had an understanding of the corps in relation to regiments, and I decided I'd join a corps. I first looked at possibly joining the Army Air Corps, but because it was in Middle Wallop and I didn't know where it was, I opted for the Army Medical Services, which was in Ashvale, which was near Aldershot, and I could find it on the map from Waterloo. So I know I was pretty simplistic in my thinking.
I'm going to drag your memory. Week 1, day 1, basic training.
Week 1, basic training. I remember coming up to the station at Ashvale, dragging my suitcase to the back gate, all the way down to the guard room, where I met a portly large senior NCO who started shouting at me. I dragged my suitcase to the block, top floor, 12-man room, me and 11 other guys from all around the country starting basic training in Keogh Barracks, Ashvale. Great time.
So in terms of the training, basic training, is it something you had in mind as to what it would be like?
I was fortunate because I'd been an army cadet for 3 years prior to joining the army. I'd been to Bassingbourne with the infantry. I'd done section attacks. I'd pressed my uniform, so pressing the uniform and bullying my boots wasn't an issue, which gave me the opportunity to support guys in my troop and help them, because not everybody was good at this. So I was fortunate that I could help others in the room.
That's good. That's good. Can you recall your passing out parade, how you felt then after basic training?
Okay, my passing out parade, what was that? February 1983. My girlfriend at the time is now my wife turned up, my cousin, her daughter, my dad, and one of my friends from school who wanted to join the army. But most importantly about my pass out parade was my sergeant major was a guy called Herbie Providence, and he was black. He joined the army in 1962. And I was one of the last troops that he was going to be seen passing out prior to leaving the army in the in 83. So fortunately for me, Sergeant Major Herbie Providence was my Sergeant Major, which made it quite a prominent day, because my dad was quite surprised to see such a senior individual on the parade.
And where did you get posted to for your first posting?
My initial posting from there was to Colchester, to 19th Field Ambulance. I got sent there in the what I would call the prelim period, because I joined as an operating departmental practitioner, or OTT as it was called then. My course wasn't for another 6 months, so I got sent to the field army while I was waiting for my course to start in the hospital, in the Cambridge Military Hospital in Aldershot.
So was it a shock to you when you turned up with your first unit, or?
Not really. I mean, like I said, I'd been a cadet, so joining the army, you know, sports afternoon, going for a run, you know, going to the ranges. To me, it felt like almost like being at school. It was fun.
Yeah. Okay. In terms of deployment, where have you deployed to? If you have deployed.
Okay, so I've had quite a lengthy career. So as I said, I joined in the early 80s. Deployments weren't thick and fast back then, but by the time we'd rolled into the 90s, if I look at my postings, I'd gone to Northern Ireland. I'd done 14 months in NI. From NI, I went to Cyprus. From Cyprus, I went to Germany. While I was in Germany, I went to Bosnia, the United Nations under UNPROFOR. Coming back from there, I've been 2 stints in Canada because I was a weapons instructor, therefore I worked in Canada. I then got posted from Germany. I got posted back to UK to 23 Parachute Field Ambulance. While I was in 23 Parachute Field Ambulance, I did Op Agricola, which is in Kosovo. I went to the Congo on a Neo. Not many people do those. Where else? From there, I've been Cyprus, I've been Germany, I've been all around, Belize. I've done lots of non-operational tours, but my operational tours sit with Kosovo, sit with there. Then when I got posted further on down the line, I've been commissioned by then. When I was commissioned, therefore I was the unit welfare officer, so my troops were then deployed out to Afghan, out to Iraq, and also to Mali. But I can't do then, because I end up on rear party because of the nature of my job.
Yes.
So yeah, I have got about 12 medals.
Okay. So of all those places that you have gone to, which is the most memorable deployment for you?
I think it might seem striking. The most memorable deployment for me was the deployment to the Congo. We went to Congo in what we would call a NEO, which is basically we were going there to extricate British citizens because there was a coup happening in Zaire. We went into Gabon, which is a French-speaking country. We stayed at a French Foreign Legion camp. We then lifted ourselves from the Legion camp to Brazzaville, which is on one side of the Kinshasa River, and we set up the forward point down there. Our initial plan was to go across into Kinshasa, pick up and extricate all British passport holders, and then come back. We were down there for a period of 6 weeks plus. Things didn't work, didn't go as bad as they thought it was going to go, so therefore we were extricated and brought back home, so we didn't have to do the task.
Oh, okay. And how long did you serve for?
So I joined in 1982, and you'll like this. I completed my service in September 2022, so it's a 40-year package.
40
40,
years?
yes, 82 to 2022.
Wow.
You remember I got commissioned, so when you get commissioned,
yes,
that takes you technically to your, in my stage there, and I finished on an FDR's commissioning as well, so that took me all the way to my 60th birthday.
4 decades. Wow. So after 40 years of service, how did you find going back to Civil Street? What was your transitional period like?
For me, transition wasn't that bad because my last posting was with a reserve field hospital. So that job, my job was running the HR team in order to recruit clinicians into the Army Reserve. So I spent the last maybe 9 years working in the NHS space, engaging with civilians, engaging with HR teams. So my transition didn't feel like transition because I'd literally been working in the civilian environment for a long time. Okay.
So what I didn't ask, what motivated you then to join the Army?
I think it's something I always wanted to do when I was a child. You know, my brothers would turn around and say he was always going to join the Army. I was one of those kids that watched the war films and read the magazines and the comics, and I've been indoctrinated into the system. I joined the Sea Cadets, left the Sea Cadets, joined the Army Cadets, and I came out of school in Thatcher's Britain of youth opportunity schemes. And even though I had O levels, the job prospect wasn't looking that good, so I opted to join the Army.
Okay. And after leaving the Army, what do you do now?
So on leaving the Army, I've now transitioned out of the Army. I've been out of the Army for a year and 3 days. I mean, I actually took what I would call a sabbatical after 40 years of work. So I've got my pensions, and I'm doing quite well. But I've also set up a CIC, Community Interest Corporation, and trying to work with what I would call veterans, because I feel there's still an air gap when people are leaving, especially those in the black community. And what we're trying to do is find somewhere where they can actually network back into the Army and tell guys and girls, good stories. So when people are leaving, they don't worry about leaving, because I think when people are leaving, they do worry because they never hear the good stories coming back. After leaving, I decided, and I'll show you something. I don't know if you can zoom in on that. I formed a company called CIC, which we've got a website. You can Google us and you'll find us. The whole idea was, at first I thought it'd be a veteran support agency. I now realise I needed to tweak it to be a bit more specific, and what we're looking at is having it's almost like a network out in. Therefore, when guys and girls leave, they can put their good points on there, so that guys and girls that are getting ready to go out can go there and they can engage with people who've already left, and it'd be a two-way forum for those preparing to leave. Because I think transition out of the army is quite frightening for a lot of people who've served a long time, and you need to be prepared when you leave. So what we're trying to do is build a portal that gives people good stories, positive stories, and hopefully helps them in their journey into CIVDIV.
Okay. What sort of encouragement you would give to anyone who wishes to join the army now, or any arms of the services?
I would turn to anybody that wishes to join the military. They need to identify what they really want to do, because again, the choices are varied. The free services are slightly different, and depending on what your interests lie, you should actually research all free services. The caveat that I must say there, the Army takes a larger contingent of foreign and Commonwealth in comparison to the other services. So if you are foreign and Commonwealth, you need to look at it. There's a bit more investigation that you need to look into, because your circumstances may have an effect on how your career runs down the line. Whereas people who are born in the UK, they just need to look at the job that they want to do, decide which of the three services they want to join, and make an application. So the point I'm trying to say is there is a variation depending on where you were born. There's no two ways about it. If you were born in the UK, it's a simple process. If you're coming from overseas, there are some slight variations that you need to look at.
Thank you so very much for this interview, and thank you so very much for the service that you offer. A person serving 40 years, not a lot of person can say that.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
I know it seems long, but again, 24 years a soldier to commission at the 24-year point, which then allows you to follow, almost 16 years as an officer. It seems a long time, but it's gone by. It feels like it's gone by like that.
Thank you so very much. That's 4 decades. That's a lot. Thank you so much for the service that you offer, not only to this country, but throughout the world.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so very much, sir.
Cheers.
Okay.